if you were the Federal Reserve chairman, what would you do right now? You're in charge. Give me the playbook. They get 3 or 4 moves. How do you get this to inflation comes down, we avoid a recession?
Oh, look, if I was the head of the Federal Reserve, I would basically maybe call a press conference and I would basically level with the American public and say, the party is over. The buck stops with me. Interest rates, the Fed is out of the interest rate manipulation market. We're no longer setting rates. Rates are going to go wherever they're going to go. The market is going to determine interest rates, not the Fed. So we're just going to take the pressure off and we are going to start unloading our balance sheet. We're going to start selling U.S. Treasuries. We're not just going to let them mature. We are selling them. And basically, interest rates are going to soar. And I'm basically going to say, look, there's no more bailouts. There's no more stimulus. So the government needs to finally act responsibly. And there needs to be massive cuts in government spending. There needs to be, tax hikes. And maybe the government has to default on its debt. I mean, if it has to default, that's better than the Fed inflating. So, but the government can no longer rely on the Federal Reserve to paper over its problems by creating inflation. We're going back to sound money. We're going to follow the original mission of the Federal Reserve, and that's it. And we're not going to be political anymore. We're not going to be bailing out politicians and investors. We're going to have a free market in interest rates, and we're going to have sound money, even though it's fiat money. I mean, we're going to make it as sound as we can by kind of maybe having a de facto gold peg like Alan Greenspan used to talk about having, that he looked at the price of gold, and if gold was too low, he knew they were too tight. If gold was too high, he knew they were too easy. But I don't even think they even have to do that if you allow the market to set interest rates, because if the market sets interest rates, the rates are going to go way up. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Especially if they know the Federal Reserve is permanently out of the QE business, that like no matter what, there's no more QE. We're never going to do it again. All we're doing is QT. Never again will we do QE. And the market knows that. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be fun. I mean, I would be doing what Paul Volcker did, right? I would be the new Paul Volcker. Only the problem is the economy is in much worse shape now than it was when Paul Volcker was around in 1980. So the consequences of having another Paul Volcker are so much greater. But the consequences of not having another Paul Volcker are also so much greater. Because if we don't do the right thing, which is what I would force to be done right away, then what ultimately happens is going to be so much worse. Because I think Paul Volcker knew that back in 1980. If he did not get control of inflation and allowed it to run away, it would have destroyed the dollar and it would have destroyed the economy back then. And so he did what was right, and he took the short-term pain for the long-term gain. The Fed doesn't do that now. They do the opposite trade. They trade short-term gain for long-term pain. Well, the problem is the long-term pain is going to be excruciating, and we may be in the long term, right? You can't always say, yes, it's a problem for the future. It's a problem for the future, because eventually that future is your present.
Hey you, did you like this video? Great, we make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and see you next time.